Well, we are in the second week of our series, I Am Blessed. In having been raised in the church, I was raised in the church ever since I was a little tyke, and before I was even born, I was in church. And one of the things I appreciate about my parents is they never, ever, ever used church as punishment. In other words, they never said, you can't go to youth group because you didn't finish your homework. You can't go to youth group because you did this. And I appreciate that because it showed me the value and the importance of coming together with brothers and sisters in Christ, as we talked about last week. But one of the things I also remember growing up is hearing people say things like, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm blessed, and what they meant was because they got a car. Or maybe I feel so blessed because I've got a beautiful home. Or I'm so blessed, because I was at the mall and I got a parking space that was right up front. You talk about a blessing from God. Amen? Right?
Wow.
We're so blessed because we have a young, good-looking pastor. I mean, all these things, blessings. Any hear any amens with that one? At least you didn't say we weren't blessed. We're blessed people, are we not? Amen? But as we go through this series, we're looking at things that we typically don't look at as blessings. Things that as we examine them in our lives, we say, well, I never really thought about it that way. And last week, if you recall, we talked about the fact that we need God, but we also need others. God has blessed us. It's a blessing. God has blessed us with a need for biblical community to surround ourselves with so that we can become more and more like Jesus Christ. And so we surround ourselves with Him and with others. Today we're going to look at another blessing that we may not even recognize as a blessing. And I would say it this way, that right now there's probably some of you who are dealing with what I would call an issue in life. There's something significant that's bothering you. Okay? And you look at something in the world and you just, it doesn't make sense to you. You cry out, why in the world is this happening? This does not make sense. For some of you, you might even lie awake at night or wake up in the middle of the night and you begin to think about this. It begins to consume you. And you might even actually be spending some time in prayer about this because you're so deeply bothered by it. What I want you to see is this is not a curse. This is an incredible blessing. Know this. Now, first thing I want us to see this morning is this. God has blessed you. God has blessed me with a burden. He's blessed us with a burden. What I would call a divine burden. And this divine burden is one that the desire to reflect His heart, to reflect His character, to reflect His very nature. And so we're going to ask a number of questions this morning. Okay? You ready for that? And as we ask these questions, I don't expect a response. But what I do is expect you to actually take it and allow that question to penetrate your heart and your mind and your body and say, you know what, I really need to think about this. And the first question I want to ask is this. What is it that breaks your heart? What is it that breaks your heart? What is it that when you see a group of people or a certain group of people that are hurting or struggling, there's something going on in the world around us and your heart just wells up and you're so moved with emotion? I think about Donna. Donna came to me and we talked a little bit about the potential of going on this mission trip, and she kind of just shared some things, but what I sensed from her was a burden. Something there. And she had been in prayer about this, I can assure you, and wondering what we could do about this ministry. What is it? What is it that breaks your heart? You look at it and say, you know what, this isn't right. This just isn't fair. There's a great story in the Old Testament that talks about something along this line. It's a guy by the name of Nehemiah. Nehemiah finds his people were vulnerable, and they're vulnerable because the walls of their city had been destroyed. And so the enemy could come in and take whatever they want, pillage them. And the reality is these were the people of God, and the people of God were being laughed at by everyone else. And Nehemiah is saying, what in the world's going on? This just doesn't make sense to me. And so we find that he asks for a report of the condition of really Jerusalem, and he's saying, what's going on there? And in Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 3, this is what it says. Things are not going well for those who return to the province of Judah. They are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem had been torn down, and the gates had been destroyed by fire. So things aren't looking very good, are they? It's in disarray. And this is the burden. It is just the burden of Nehemiah's heart. And we know this because what it says in verse number 4, Nehemiah chapter 1. Nehemiah says, when I heard this, I sat down and wept. I sat down and wept. In fact, 4 days. Not 4 days, but for day after day after day after day. And it went on and on. He says, I sat down and I wept. In fact, for days I mourned, fasted, and prayed to the God of heaven. This news report came back to him, and it wrecked him. It broke his heart. It wasn't like how we have a tendency to respond. And let's be honest, a lot of times we do this. Wow, stinks to be them. And we move on with life. Don't we? Oh man, I really hate to hear that, but I've got no problems, you know? And so you move on. It wasn't like that. He couldn't eat. He wept. He says, you know what? This just isn't right. And the reason it wasn't right in his mind is because God had blessed him with a burden. How do we know God blessed him with a burden? Because of what he did. God went and used Nehemiah to do what no one else said could be done. Everyone else says, there's no way you can redo this. You can't rebuild the walls. Nehemiah had the burden so greatly that God used Nehemiah, this guy, to rebuild the walls in record time. So what is it, first of all, that breaks your heart? The second question I want to ask you is this. Not just what breaks your heart, but what makes you angry? What makes you angry? And I'm not talking about a pet peeve, okay? Yeah, I will tell you one of my pet peeves is you're on the road and you're driving along and you're doing, anyhow, you're doing close to speed limit and a car pulls from the other lane in front of you and drives slowly. Doesn't that drive you nuts? That's a pet peeve of mine. I'd rather drive on the sidewalk than be in front of me. A pet peeve? I'm not talking about a pet peeve. I'm not asking you what makes you angry, your pet peeves. What I'm asking is what makes you righteously angry? What is it that breaks your heart? What are things do you look at and say, you know what, I know God's not pleased with this. I know God, this has got to make you angry, and if it makes you angry, it makes me angry. We see an example of this in the book of Exodus. A guy by the name of Moses. Moses was not Charlton Heston. Moses was a real guy in the Old Testament. And Moses was this guy who was born Hebrew. But he was raised Egyptian. But he never forgot who he was at his core. He never forgot that he was one of God's chosen people. And so therefore he never stopped caring for his people, the Hebrews. And he has this righteous anger moment in Exodus chapter 2, verse 11 through 12. It says, many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews. And he saw how hard they were forced to work. And during his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating one of his fellow Hebrews. And I love this. After looking in all directions to make sure that nobody was looking, Moses kills the Egyptian and hides the body in the sand. Now, he's essentially saying, listen, I care so much, and I have such a burden for my people. And I don't like it when they're being abused. Now also understand, I'm not asking you to go to, what was the fight last night? Pacquiao and I'm not asking you to fight. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking you to go, UFC on somebody and kill them and bury them in the sand. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I want you to see is he had such a passion, a burden for his people, such a passion and a burden that who did God use years later? Who did God use years later to send before Pharaoh and say, listen, you need to let my people go? Who was it? It was Moses. The same guy who had this burden for the people of God. He goes before Pharaoh after having a little discussion with God and saying, God, I can't really do this because I stutter and stammer. God says, no, you're the person for the job because you've got the burden for it. And he says, okay. And he goes before Pharaoh and he says, Pharaoh, let God's people go. was there. So what is it? What is it that you can't stand? Maybe it's when you look at elderly people being ignored in the culture in which we live, kind of left to go out to pasture to die, so to speak, on their own. You think somebody's got to do something about this. Mother Teresa, she saw people in Ethiopia, and here's what she said. She said, when I see waste, I feel angry on the inside. She went on to say, I don't approve of myself for getting angry, but it's something you can't help after seeing the people in Ethiopia. And so what is it that makes you sad? What is it that makes you righteously angry? And the third question I want you to ask yourself is this. What do I care about? What do I care about that other people don't care about? What is it that you look at and it has so consumed you and you're wondering, how in the world that other people don't see this? I mean, Randy, why don't you have the same passion that I do? Why don't you have the same burden that I do, Lauren? Why is it that nobody else understands this? Do you see how it matters? And the answer to that question is this. It's because God has blessed you with that burden. And He wants you to do something about it. Maybe it's people who are newly saved. Maybe you sit here and you say, wow, it was so awesome, to see people here make decisions for Jesus Christ. And you wonder, who's feeding them? Who is spending time with them? Who is helping them grow in the relationship with Jesus Christ? Who's investing in them? Who is really teaching God's Word to them, raising them up? Maybe you look at inner city kids in this area of Harrisburg, and you go, man, look at all these great kids with incredible potential who have 2 strikes against them before they even begin to get a start. Can't we make a difference? Can't we go out and at least sit down and mentor them and encourage them and thrust in them really a desire that they would become productive Christ followers? Can't we do something about this? There are 3 incredible questions. And what I want you to do with these 3 incredible questions is I want you to take it and really ponder these questions. I want you to wrestle with these questions. I want you to pray about these questions. And then I want you to get together with those people, because remember, we need God and we need others. Remember we talked about that last week? I want you to get together not just with God as you spend time in prayer, but I want you to get together with the others that you've begun to surround yourself with. And I want you to talk about this. And be prepared then to answer a very important question. There's actually 2 of them. What is my blessing? And what is my burden? What is it that you're burdened by? Ask yourself, say to yourself, I am burdened by this. What part of God's character, what part of God's heart, what part of God's nature has He instilled in you? And you recognize that God has blessed you because you're burdened by this. I got to tell you, I'm burdened with a passion to try to preach the Word of God in a clear and really distinct way. So that not only will we become disciples of Christ, but that we will become disciple-making disciples of Christ. And I got to tell you, one of my burdens is how long has it been since we've actually asked people to make a decision for Jesus Christ? When was the last time you went to somebody and asked them if they make a decision for Jesus Christ? And if the answer is, by the majority of us, well, it's not my job, it's a pastor's job, or it's Caleb's job, or whatever. But guess what? I need to continue to be burdened with this. We've got to see our lives change so that we become disciple-making disciples of Jesus Christ. The problem is that we get these burdens, and quite honestly, we don't handle them correctly. The first way that we have a tendency to handle them incorrectly is this. A lot of people, they just complain about them. Right? We do. We complain about these burdens. And what we do and how we complain, how we whine about it, is we blame everybody else. Amen? It's got to be the government's fault, because let's be honest, the government, they're just a bunch of stupid people, right? Come on. You guys can probably fill in the blank with some other things, but I'm going to be nice here today. The government's just dumb. Why don't they get together and do something about this? Or we may not blame the government, we'll blame the educational system. If the teachers would just quit taking summers off, come on, do something. Some of us might even blame the church. I mean, it's the church's fault. Because all the church really cares about is making sure we have rear ends, or as I say, butts in the pews. Yeah, that's all they really care about, money in the offering plate. That's all they're concerned about. They really don't care about the culture in which they live. And we blame everyone else. It's everyone else's fault. And what I'd like to respectfully say, I was nice in the first service, I won't be as nice here. What I'd like to respectfully say to those who are complaining is, shut up.
Amen.
Quit complaining and do something. God's giving you a burden for a reason. Step up to the plate and do what He's called you to do. Because some people just complain. Other people, they just ignore their burden. I tell you, one of the things I love about my wife is my wife has always been emotional. And she has brought that out of me. Okay? Now, there are times when we're at home and it's just Natalie and Susan and I up watching whatever Natalie and Susan want to watch. And just speaking the truth, baby, as clearly as I can. And Susan will come across a part that might be perceived as being emotional, and Natalie will look at her almost every night and say, Mom, are you crying? That's one of the things I absolutely love about my wife. I love that she has a tender heart. Imagine my wife who has a tender, compassionate heart being upset about kids who have nothing, and then there comes a television program on that talks about that. Imagine that being Susan. One of the ways that she could ignore it is saying, you know what, Kevin? I want you to change the channel. I can't do this. I want to be able to sleep tonight, and I'd rather watch the Cowboys destroy the Eagles again or something, you know? Just speaking truth again. That's all I want. Doesn't want to know about all that stuff. I mean, if there's someone who's hurting that could bother me, don't tell me about it. Because I'm trying to be comfortable here. You know, and when that burden becomes too heavy, you know what happens is I stop being as comfortable, and I really don't want that. And so here's what I want to do. I just want to ignore it. Let me put my head in the sand, kind of detached from all of this. So we complain. We ignore our burden, but then there's also those who try to appease their burden. They start to feel some level of guilt. You know what I'm talking about, right? Start to feel some level of guilt, and they feel bad about it, and so something happens, and they have an opportunity to appease their burden. It might look something like this. You have a burden for the homeless. You have a burden for people who are suffering, and you come across somebody, and they are asking for money. Now, you can do what my dad always said. No. Right? Now, you can do that. But you've got a burden. And so you pull out your wallet. Inside your wallet, you got 50, a couple of 20s, right? Maybe a couple of 10s and a 5. And so you give them the 5. And you make a big deal out of it. You know, like, here you go, you know, and don't you dare use this money on alcohol and drugs or anything. You be sure to get yourself some food, right? Good glory of Jesus, amen. And then you think to yourself, boy, I feel so much better about myself because I've got this burden for these people who need, and I just gave them a $5 bill. In fact, I might even be so generous next year that, because I'm a giving person, I might actually give them 10. Because that's just who I am. And we appease. So we can go back to our comfortable life. You see, the burden that God has given you is actually a blessing. Because He wants you desperately to be used by Him to touch lives of others, to touch other lives. We have a slogan here. Life change happens here. That's what our heart desire is. But we can't do that if we complain about it, or if we ignore our burden, or if we try to just appease our burden. So how do we approach it? What do we need to do? Well, 2 thoughts. First of all, I would challenge you to let your burden overwhelm you. Let your burden overwhelm you. Literally be emotionally broken by it. In order to do that, you have to expose yourself to your burden. It means you have to read about it. You have to study about it. You have to get comfortable with the discomfort that it can bring. I will tell you that Donna has a burden for these families in Appalachia. Where that's going to go down the road, we don't know. What I do know is she's studied about it, and she's visited there, and she's been a part of that. She's taken those initial steps to be faithful to her faithful God. We've got to be comfortable with the discomfort that brings in our life. We've got to be willing to be awakened at 2 o'clock in the morning and spend time in prayer about this burden, agonizing about this burden. I've got to tell you, I've been in pastoral ministry for over 25 years. I've been in lead pastor ministry for over 20 years. And I agonize in prayer for the church. And oftentimes wake up in the middle of the night praying about the condition of the church. And let me just say, it's not for everyone. There are some people in this church that I want to be like. Because I see in them individuals who are really on fire for the Lord and sharing Jesus Christ and being the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. But there's so many of us that will only be a part of church things when the weather's nice. Or not nice, I should say. When the weather's nice, we're going to the beach, or we're going to go to boating, or we're going to do those other things. So when the weather's not real nice, we'll be here. Or maybe when there's not a certain game coming on, or whatever it is. And we'll come, and we don't really want to get involved. Don't ask me to do anything. Just let me come in, kind of get something out of it, and go back and do my weekly thing. And that breaks my heart. It burdens me, and it keeps me awake at night. In fact, if I could be really transparent, I shared this in the first service. I know there's more of these individuals there, but one of the things that really burdens me is this. Why is it that the people that we see in our small group studies, our Bible studies, and the opportunities to grow spiritually, why is it that the people we see in there are the ones who are new to the church within the last 10 years? Why is it? Why is it we feel we don't have to grow spiritually? We don't need others. I know what it is. We're independent. We talked about it last week. There's many, many nights when I wake up and I pray for this church that God will give us a heart desire to know Him. To know Him. Stop playing the game. Too often, though, we look at the Christian life as an opportunity to have a burden-free life. We want to be independent. Don't want any problems. We talked about it again last week. I don't want to deal with those weird people, those challenging people, you know. I certainly don't want to be transparent and let people know what's going on in my life. Because if they know what's going on in my life, I might not look as spiritual as I think I am. So let me show up and let me go home. But understand that burden-free life is the antithesis of following Jesus Christ. Let me say it again. A burden-free life is the antithesis of following Jesus Christ. Hurting for people and caring for people and representing Him. We need to let God's burden rip our hearts out. We need to be overwhelmed by it. This is what happened to Isaiah. King Uzziah had died. And it was a difficult time for the people. The people panicked. Isaiah starts seeking God, and in Isaiah 6:5, he cries out, I love this. Read this with me, Isaiah 6:5. Woe to me, I am ruined. Say that again. Woe to me, I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips. And my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. He says, I'm what? I'm ruined. I am ruined. I'm overwhelmed. I am consumed. I'm overcome by this. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I will never be the same. Why will he never be the same? He will never be the same because he has seen the Lord Almighty. He has seen the King. We've got to get to a place where we let our burden overwhelm us, where we let our burden ruin us, and then we need to let our burden move us to action. We've got to let it move us. For example, if you came to church today, you said, well, you know what? These people aren't very friendly. Then you know what? Maybe that's the burden God's given you to be a part of our greeting ministry. To be a smiling face and a hand that's extended. Maybe you come on Wednesday night and you see the students and the children that are running all over the place. And maybe you're saying, wow, you know, I just look at all these kids. Who's feeding these kids? Who's nurturing these kids? Who's helping these kids grow in the things of Christ? You know what that is? That's a burden. You want to feel young again, start working with the young. You become a solution. You answer the burden, the call that God has put in your life. That's exactly what Isaiah did. He was ruined. He was so overwhelmed that when he heard the voice of the Lord says this, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" That's God saying. "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" You know what Isaiah said? He said, "Here am I. Here am I. Send me. My life is not my own anymore. You've given me this burden, and I want to be used by you for your glory, and I know if it's for your glory, it's going to be for my good. So use me to touch the lives of others. Because I am so overwhelmed, I'm ruined in the best sort of way. So that God can use me, because He's blessed me. Blessed me with a burden. So that's my prayer for us. Is that we will take these questions and we will allow them to permeate. That we will talk about them, that we will pray about them. And that we will let God overwhelm us. And that we will move to action. Over the last number of weeks, I've been praying a prayer that was sent to me by a pastor friend of mine. It's actually from a Franciscan benediction, and I will tell you that I added some things. I'll tell you the part that I added to it, because quite honestly I thought it was lacking. Because what I want to make very clear here, I'm not talking about social justice. Okay? What I'm saying is that God has given us a burden to help touch the lives of others so that they can experience the saving message of Jesus Christ. Period. If we're going out and we're just going to work in a soup kitchen without sharing Jesus Christ, then what are we doing it for? But here's my prayer that I've been praying. Listen to this first line very clearly. May God bless you with discomfort. May God bless you with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships. Isn't that good? May God bless you with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships so that you may live deep within your heart. May God bless you with anger and injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people so that you can work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, and starvation so that you may reach out your hand to comfort them and turn their pain into joy. And may God bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world so that you can do what others claim cannot be done. And this is what I've added. May God bless you with these burdens so that His grace may be revealed and persons may come to a saving personal relationship with Jesus Christ. May we all have the burden for Christ to be rooted deep in our heart of all persons, or deep in the hearts of all persons we engage in our daily lives. May we all have the burden for Christ to be rooted deep in the heart of all persons we engage in our daily lives. And may God bless you with a burden to represent Him and to make a difference for His glory. That's my prayer. So what burden does God give you?